Hey everyone, how's everybody doing? Oh, everyone's showing up. 11 people. Hello. Hey everybody. I never streamed on this channel before. Well, I'm streaming on it now. Hey, how's it going? Oh my god, look at all of you guys. Can you guys do me a big favor and press like on this stream so that more people see it? It's really stupid, but like if you press like on it, I guess more people see it. I want to talk to everybody live. It's the first time I'm doing a stream on this channel. I'm so excited. How do I get good? Oh shit. Yeah, you've never seen my live streams because I've never done any. This is my first one. I'm gonna do them all the time now. How do you get good? My friend, you practice, and you practice. I'm like trying to get still good, and it's a lot of work, let me tell you. Oh my god, look at all these people showing up. Holy cow. Guys, I've never done a live stream before. I wanted to do a live stream and do questions and answers and do stuff with you guys. If you just joined me now, please click like on the stream so more people find out about it. I know it's kind of silly. Hey, Ruslan. Hey, Louis, how's it going? Clay, what's up? Hey, guys. Oh my god, so many of you. Your hair is gorgeous. Thank you. You're hilarious. How's everybody doing? Where's everybody from? Can you guys tell me where you're from? You have to understand, when I make these videos... Oh, he hates listening to his own playing. Yeah, sometimes I hate listening to my own playing. Can you guys tell me in the comments where you're from? Because you have to understand, when I make these videos... Alaska, whoa. New York, Tel Aviv, holy shit. When I make these videos, it's so lonely. I just sit in front of the camera. California, Mexico. Wow. I saw you in London with Bob Reynolds Quartet. It was true lesson. Thank you, Mexico. Wow, that's awesome, you guys. It's so cool to hang out with you here. That's cool, Central America. Because when I sit here and I make these videos, it's just me and the camera, and I feel like such an idiot. I'm like, is it for actually real people? And you guys are real people. I realize I have to concentrate on a piece of music and play it many, many times before it's going to make sense of a harmony and apply it. Can you say something to this? Yeah, France. Yeah, it just takes time about finding common ground with other comping instruments. Flint, Michigan. Absolutely. Fuck. These are going by so fast. How do you do smooth voice leading? Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna do videos on a bunch of this stuff. If you guys go to my channel, there's a community tab on my channel, and that community tab I posted establishing practice routine. Yes, I'm going to do videos on all this. You have to understand I'm either going to answer it right now or I'm gonna do videos about all that you guys are asking, because I want to do videos that you guys are interested in. Establishing a practice routine, you focus on 1-2 things at a time and say, I'm just going to work on these 2 things. I know I have 100 things to improve, but I'm just going to work on 1 or 2 things for the next, I don't know, 2 months, right? You have to say no to 100 things and say yes to 2 things, and then you improve. Could you make a video teaching about walking bass, please? Yes, I'm going to. One of the biggest lessons I can tell you, either transcribe walking bass lines by great bass players or find books of those transcriptions. They exist. I'm also going to do a lesson, but no one's going to do a better walking bass lesson than Ray Brown or Ron Carter. Basically, it's connecting chord tones with notes in between in really cool melodic ways. Favorite standard? Oh god, I have so many. I'm a beginner keyboardist, but I lifeline guitar. Definitely going to hit you up for a lesson soon on Insta, although I am a guitarist. It doesn't matter, man. I studied from a trombone player. My best teacher is Hal Crook. He's a trombonist. He's not a pianist. Music is music. Choice of notes is choice of notes. Like, taste is taste. Pacing your solo is pacing your solo. Telling a story is telling a story. It doesn't matter what instrument. Heck yeah, how about a lesson on fingerings? I don't know how to do that. I have the worst fingerings. My teachers have been always so hard on me. Here's a lesson on fingerings. Try slowly different ones, and whichever feels like home to you, stick to that. Write one out. Trust your fingers, and then do the one that feels like home to you. Like study jazz first. Of course, I studied classical first when I was a kid, and then jazz when I was 14. What keyboard would you recommend for me to practice and play? Keyboard with weighted keys, whatever, but weighted keys. Have to have weighted keys. From American Queens, thank you for the best harmonization. Oh, thank you so much, Jay. Do you do something to get in the zone before a big improvised jazz gig, or do you just go for it? Hal Crook was my teacher too. I just play a lot of gigs. Sometimes I'm in the zone, sometimes I'm not. Do you have any videos on arpeggio practicing for all modes? If not, I'm making a book about that right now. I'm going to have a book that's going to be called Before You Improvise. And those are the things that I think everyone should practice before they improvise. Exploring all the modes and depth. I'm making a book about that. Before you improvise, you have to know all the options and you have to get your hands dirty with all the modes and all the possibilities, like approach notes within scales, within arpeggios, within all that stuff. I'm making a book about that right now. I started writing a book about how to improvise, and now I'm making a book that's called Before You Improvise, because I think that's more important. Some odd jobs, I played funerals, bar mitzvahs, I played weddings, I played in bars and hotel lobbies. Are you fucking kidding me? I've done so much stuff like that, you wouldn't believe it. Sounds like you're getting a lot of questions. Can you offer advice on playing over changes where the chords change too quickly? Yes, practice the same things that I tell you to practice, but very slowly. Chords changing is just chords changing. Fast or slow doesn't matter. So just slow it down with play along. I'm also working on a play along pack for you guys, because people ask, well, what do you mean slow it down? I don't have a play along to do that. So I'm doing that too. I have so much work next year. It's all going to come out, and I'm going to try to make it affordable and all that stuff. You guys need like the real play alongs. Practice it super slowly. Get a play along, record it super slowly. The same rules apply. Say of the recent gig you played with Bob in Cologne, you were on fire. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks, man. Can you guys hit like if you haven't hit like on this video here right now, so people discover it, because that's the only way people discover it. Any advice on getting gigs? I'm a tenor player. I have some connections, but I want more work. Sit in. You're 14. Okay, you have time. How do you keep the humble attitude? You compare yourself to Brad Mehldau and Herbie Hancock. As far as how to get gigs, practice, get a good teacher, play all the time, practice all the time, sit in and sound great all the time, and then give it time. It takes a while. What about chord extensions like 7, sharp 9, and many more? Can you specify what about these extensions you're asking about? I'm trying to figure out. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm skipping your questions, because I'm getting 1 trillion questions a minute. What about those extensions? So yeah, getting gigs, practice all the time, have specific practice routine, improve specific things you want to improve. Don't improvise your practicing. Practice deliberately, intentionally, have a good teacher, be on the way up, work on specific things. Make sure you play with people all the time. Don't just practice all the time. Playing won't do what practicing will do for you. Practicing won't do for you what playing will do for you. You truly need both. And then learn tunes, sit in with people, sound great, the gigs will come. You're 14 years old. There's time, my friend. There's time. I'm sorry if I skipped your questions. You can ask it again. I don't mind people asking twice. Need tips for exercise to help with memorizing, visualize fourth chord and so what voicings, please. Yeah, memorizing all that stuff is just doing it a lot. Like you guys, a lot of the things people ask me come down to like, dude, you have only done it this much. Do it a lot, slowly, in 5 keys. Don't worry, you'll remember it eventually. It'll come. How to improve if I don't have people to play with? That's a problem, my friend. Play with play-alongs. Jamey Aebersold play-alongs can help, but ultimately this is why people move from one city to the next. I'm sorry if it sounds like bad news. I apologize. You have to play with people. You can start with playing the play-alongs with Jamey Aebersold, who has many amazing play-alongs, or you can make your own play-alongs if you know how to do that. That's what I do. But yeah, it's tough. You have to... the Egyptian scale, double harmonic, major with, oh my God, this is too fast. I can't even read them fast enough. How does a musician take his band to the next level, reaching good gigs, tours? You have to have a following to get tours, my friend. It's not a matter of music. Getting gigs and festivals has nothing to do with how good your band is. Nothing. I mean, you guys have to be good, but that's not what that's about. Having gigs and festivals come down to having a following. If you're a terrible band, but you have a big following, they'll book you. They're not in it for the music only. They're mostly in it for the festival to succeed. So you could be an amazing band. If you don't have a following, nobody cares. The music is just a piece of the puzzle, and it's not even the biggest piece. When practicing, do you limit the amount of time you spend on each particular item? You bet I do. That's right. You limit the amount. I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depends if you practice 3 hours a day or if you practice 45 minutes a day. But yes, I limit the time. I limit the time, and that's why I have to practice specifically, deliberately, intentionally specific things. But yeah, practicing should be your routine. You don't want to improvise, because then you're going to practice for 5 hours and get all excited, and then a week later you're going to burn out. You can't do that. Practice everything for how much do I practice a day? Depends on the day. Sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 0 hours. It depends. At this point, I don't have a routine because I tour so much, and I do these videos now, and like, it's a big deal. I try to practice. Like, for instance, I'm gonna practice now, and like, I have some time. My girlfriend's at work. Also, if you guys are new, please hit that like button on the video so people can discover this live stream. Can you mention some of your very favorite solo jazz piano players? Keith Jarrett, Chick Corea, Herbie, Brett Mehldau. Man, those guys. How about a lesson to play harmonic? The comments are disappearing. Harmonic minor. Yeah, I can do a lesson on that. Absolutely. Absolutely. These comments are disappearing because I'm on my mobile. So I love your playing. You sound very melodic and fresh. How do you sound so good? You think I sound good? Are you crazy? Dude, I can't stick to the same idea for longer than freaking 32 bars. Thank you for your compliment, but it's not. Oh, God, I wish it was so simple. Hold on. Please comment on some of the young new bands and how they developed out of the college system. Snarky, Wolfpack. They all grew up. They all came touring. They all toured a lot. Snarky toured a lot. I know those guys. They toured for 10 years and like really were hustling and getting more following, and paying for it out of pocket, by the way. Paying for it out of pocket. Nobody gave them money. Mike was paying out of pocket for years and years and years and years and years and years and years until it paid off. And now they're huge because they deserve it. Well, extension cord, like how to use them, many more. I'm having issues to use those chords and where to use them. I see what you're saying. Yeah, like major 7 chords take certain extensions. Dominant chords take other extensions. So yeah, you have to know which extensions go with which chords. I should really make a video on that. That's a really good point. Like which extension goes with major 7 chords, which extensions goes with dominant chords or minor 7 chords or major. Yes, because different kinds of chords take different kinds of extensions. That's correct. I'll make a video about that. Thank you guys for hitting that like button, by the way. If you can, hit that like button for me, please. This way, more and more people will discover this stream in real time. And I'm happy to answer questions if I can read them fast enough. Oh my God. You guys, you don't even know how exciting this is for me. You seriously have no idea how exciting this is. I just sit here in my living room, and you guys are real people. Like, I know it sounds silly, but like when I make these videos, I'm just sitting in this room by that piano over there. You can hit me up. I don't really want to disclose prices online. It's kind of tacky. You can hit me up on my email at rsirota@gmail.com. rsirota@gmail.com. You don't need a lesson every week with me. Most people take one lesson every couple of months. If I gave you a lesson and you need to come back next week, that means it was a crap lesson. Trying again. How about Coltrane patterns? I can do Coltrane patterns, absolutely. I just feel like there's so many videos on that. Like, why do you need me for it? It's like there's so many people doing that. Sight reading, a necessity for drastically improving? No, absolutely not. Sight reading is not a necessity for improving drastically. Charlie Parker could not sight read. Freddie Hubbard could not sight read. Stan Getz could not sight read. You don't need to sight read to be a great player. You need to have an unbelievable ear to be a great player. Sight reading helps to get gigs that do sight reading. You understand? Sight reading is good to do film scoring gigs. Because in a film scoring session, you need to read. Big band gigs, you need to read. If you want to be a jazz soloist, you don't need to sight read. To learn songs quickly, yes, sight reading is helpful to learn songs quickly. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. But again, Charlie Parker couldn't. Like my friend, very famous bass player, watch Joe Pass lines. Yeah, started following you a few months ago. You're amazing. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Thank you for your words. Thank you. My friend is a very famous bass player who everybody knows. He cannot sight read, and he sounds amazing and learns songs very fast because his ears compensate for all the things. You know how sometimes blind people who can't see have better hearing? Not all the time, but like sometimes. Like one of the senses starts compensating for the other. So a lot of times people who can't sight read, they'll learn songs faster because what choice do they have, right? Like That's a lot of times. I've worked with some famous legendary people who I'm not going to disclose because they don't read. And they learn music faster than normal people do because they can't sight read. So they developed that muscle of memorizing music faster. Wow, 50 people. Holy cow, you guys. This is amazing. If you have a question that I skipped, please type it again. You have to understand that these fly by. Oh, crap. To be brave to perform. Oh, crap. Hold on. 50 questions at the same time. To be brave to perform, start slow. Play for your friends. Play online. Start small. There's nothing. When it's a matter of being brave, there's nothing to do. You have to just do it. And it's really scary, and I know it's really, really scary, and it's easy for me to say. It's easy for me to talk, but yeah, I know it's really scary, but that's a psychological problem. That's not a musical problem. So approach it like you would approach, I don't know, if you were scared riding a bus. Okay, all the questions disappeared. Oh, great. How do you get good at playing melody? My ear can't figure out where the next note is, and when I try to play the melody of some songs precisely. Well, that's not getting good at playing the melody. That's getting good at ear training. If you don't know where the next note is, it's not a problem that you don't know how to play the melody well. You can't hear what the intervals are, if I'm understanding you correctly. You can't really hear what the next note is. Develop your relative pitch. If you're hearing a fifth, you should know, oh, that's a fifth. Doo-doo. If you're hearing a third, you should know that's a third. Doo-doo. This way, you'll be able to develop hearing intervals. Get an app that helps you develop ear training on the phone. Develop that kind of stuff. Okay, who's the best jazz musician you play with? My God, are you kidding me? I played with Corea. I played with Joe Lovano. I played with freaking everybody. I'll tell you that in those situations, I was the worst. But I don't know who is the best. I've played with George Duke and with Chick and with crap. Who have I not? I mean, I played with some really, really amazing Bob Mincer and Peter Erskine. I played with some amazing people. I'm very, very, very lucky. And yeah, no, I can't answer that. Who's the best jazz? What about Coltrane's playing 4 chords over 1? Right, the 4 tonic centers. Yeah, that's it. I can talk about that. I bet there's 100 videos. That's such a popular topic in jazz. What are the jobs that okay. Your videos are incredibly helpful. Thank you, Ivan. I really appreciate it. Your album is an absolute masterpiece. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it, brother. Aside from music, what do I enjoy doing? I watch a bunch of philosophy videos, anthropology videos, social biology, evolutionary biology, debates, stuff like that. I enjoy single malt whiskey, if you can't tell from over here. Wow, hi, hey man, nice surprise. How long have you been growing your hair? It's been a while, but most of it is falling out, so I'm kind of trying to make up for it with this hair. I'm an immigrant from Russia myself, very proud of all that you achieved. Thank you so much. Спасибо большое. Thank you. Thanks for your answer, inspiring playing. Thank you, Scott. Do you have any advice for a jam session? Yes, I do. Jam session, try to not just jam without purpose. Try to create music together. Try to have sections. Try to have dynamics. Try to build every solo from the bottom up. When the next person starts a solo, you want to start it from loud to soft or from soft to loud. But keep in mind the big picture of the music. Keep in mind dynamics at a jam session. Keep in mind that your solo needs to end at a certain point. Don't play past the point where the solo is over. You know where that point is if you're honest with yourself. Don't ramble. Have your solos have a beginning, middle, and end. It's a jam session, sure, but it doesn't mean you can just run your mouth and be not musical. Thank you for answers inspired. Collab with the boy Collier. Oh, with Jacob, man, it's impossible. He's taking off. We jam sometimes when he's here at Lewis Cole's parties. Do you guys know Lewis Cole? He's from Nowhere, the band Nowhere. So we jam sometimes over there, but we're not going to collab anytime soon. Jacob is super successful and famous. He's on tour the entire year, and he's busy doing so many things. He's kicking butt right now. How do I get better in all keys? Okay, no one is perfectly equally good in all keys. Okay, I'm not equally good in all keys. If you want to be good why are you good in the key of C? Because you played in that key a lot. It's true that most people don't get asked to play in the key of B as often as they play in the key of C. So they never improve in the key of B as much as in the key of C. Make a month B flat month. June is going to be the month of the key of B flat, and you play mostly in that key at home, that whole month, and you will improve. July is the month of D, and in July you're going to practice at home in key of D mostly, and that you're going to do that for a month. After that month, you will improve in the key of D. Just declare a key of the month, right? August is going to be the month of B flat or the month of F, whatever, and practice mostly in that key the whole month, and that will improve you for sure. Raphael, hey, when transcribing jazz piece, how do I know what all the harmonies are when they keep changing? Is it just important to write it down? You don't have to write it down. You can just memorize it. How do you know what the harmonies are? You have to have good pitch. You guys, I'm still figuring out how to help people to get good relative pitch. Relative pitch is everything in music. Relative pitch is everything. Relative pitch is how you hear what is being played at you and how you discern what you're hearing. I need to figure out how to teach relative pitch, you guys. Alan Johnson, hey brother. Alan Johnson is an amazing jazz pianist, you guys. Go check out Alan Johnson's videos or whatever music he's got out. I recommend. He's unbelievable. He's here with us. Can you say something in Spanish? Oh my God, I'm afraid not. Hold on. That's okay. Hi, Ruslan. Any classical composer which influenced you the way you approach playing the piano in jazz? Yeah, listen, I think a lot of Russian composers approach influence my sense of melody, like Rachmaninoff for sure. Rachmaninoff definitely helps, and I love his music so much. Thankfully, when I started, someone told me to practice everything in all keys. Good. Thank you for your videos, very helpful. Have you some tip for a guitarist? Yes, approach soloing on guitar just like you approach soloing on saxophone. It doesn't matter. Notes are notes. That's the tip for a guitarist. Chords are chords. There are some limitations that guitar has, of course, but there are some limitations the piano has. Every instrument has limitations, but we all share something in common. Choice of notes is choice of notes. How much space you leave is how much space you leave. Doesn't matter what instrument you play. Do you develop your themes? Motivic development is motivic development, no matter what instrument. So the tips are the same for a guitarist that are for a trumpet player. Have motivic development. Tell a story in your solo. If you played a lot of eighth notes, play some whole notes. Play some half notes. If you play a lot of quarter notes, stop playing quarter notes. Play some other kind of notes. Notice disbalances in your playing. If you play a lot of fast notes, play some slow ones. It's going to make your solo come alive. If you play a lot of slow notes, play some fast ones now to balance the slow ones. That's the advice I have for a guitar player. That's the advice I have for a saxophone player. It's the same advice for everybody. Hey, Ruslan, teach us how to play some hymns. Oh, God, yeah, I'm going to get to that. I really want to get to that, you guys. I mean, I had to learn it myself from a bunch of church cats who taught me. But so I don't really play it authentically like they play it because, you know, I didn't grow up playing at church. But I play it some way. I saw a gig with Bob in Portugal 2 weeks ago. It was amazing. Oh, I loved Portugal. It was amazing. Thank you so much for coming. This was a blast. But does the key of C sharp month help at any point? Yeah, it does help when someone asks you to play at C sharp, which will not happen very often. But if you play with singers, the singers will ask for C sharp sometimes because they're singers. And that's when it helps. Any gigs in Michigan anytime soon? Yeah, I'm about to tour with Josh Groban, you guys. You guys know who Josh Groban is? He's a classical crossover singer, but he's also kind of a singer-songwriter now. So, how to explore horizontal harmony? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Do you really want me to answer that right now? Oh, God. Voice leading. Check out, oh my God, check out Russell Ferrante's videos for money. It's a school, I think, My Music Lessons or something like that. They sell Russell Ferrante's lessons. Check out those. It's like $15 a video. There's 2 of them. Check out those. That'll help you. Barry Harris helps with a lot of that kind of horizontal stuff. Hey, Russell, love your playing. Hugs from Italy. Hey, John, how's it going? Classical scale practice. Recipe of scale practice. Scale practice is scale practice. I recommend both. It's not going to make you a better player, but it's going to get you more familiar with the instrument, and it's going to get you more. Accustomed and get the linear stuff is going to improve for you. Hold on. Oh God, these questions are so fast. Effortless Mastery is a good book to read. Effortless Mastery is a nice book to read for a creative process. People say that their perfect pitch is better than any relative pitch, then they can't improvise. Yeah, no, relative pitch is the key. Perfect pitch is great. Relative pitch is the key. Relative pitch is the truth. That's really how you discern. Usually, though, most people who have perfect pitch also have great relative pitch because of that. But relative pitch is how you understand intervals. And intervals are music. If you can hear all the intervals between everything you hear everything. Everything is intervals. Again, can you guys press like on this video so other people can discover it? I'm sorry to keep repeating myself, but I know there's new people. If you press like on it and there's a bunch of likes on this video, people will come and discover it and we can all hang out. Do you think Art Tatum knew that he was playing altered Mixolydian scales and what substitutions? No, of course he didn't. Art Tatum had no idea he was doing that. And neither did Charlie Parker. And neither did Freddie Hubbard. That's why I'm saying if you have unbelievable ears, you don't need theory. But most people don't have unbelievable ears and they still want to play music. So, you know, most people don't have Art Tatum's ears. Oh, I'll keep it on the channel. Guitar and C sharp minor. Where should I decide to move on to new tunes or transcribing new solos? I say solos for sure. I say transcribing new solos. It'll actually make you a better player. Learning new tunes will also make you a better player. Ultimately, you have to do both, but I would start with solos. Some guitarists that have influenced me, Pat Metheny influenced the crap out of me. I love Pat Metheny, you guys. There's others, all the jazz guys, Wes and Jim Hall and all those guys, but Pat Metheny was probably the biggest influence on me in terms of guitar. If I get sick of a transcription project, should I finish it? You should only transcribe things that you're in love with in the first place. Don't transcribe things you're not in love with. So then you won't get sick of a transcription project. Transcribe only things you're in love with. You're like, oh my God, I love this solo. That's what you should only transcribe. All of you guys, not just Jonathan was asking this question. All of you guys. You have to transcribe things you love because transcribing is a lot of work and you want to incentivize yourself with, you know, it being a piece of music that you enjoy in the first place. And also you want to learn the things that your heart resonates with in the first place, right? There's a reason why you love that solo so much and it moves you so much. It's because you hear part of yourself in it. You're like, oh, look, so beautiful. Your soul hears part of itself in that solo. Now you have to go transcribe it. And now transcribing it also won't be a daunting task because, you know, that's something you're transcribing something you're in love with in the first place. What are your current work to improve your musicianship? Oh, God. I'm going to get my chops back up to speed. My chops are terrible. And I'm writing 2 books right now. And I'm realizing that I need to practice those very things I'm writing about, which is exploring in-depth different scales, in-depth different patterns, exploring in-depth different things. I'm writing these books and I'm like, holy cow, I need to do these things myself. Toughest thing you've transcribed? Some Brett Mehldau stuff was pretty tough. Like some solo piano Brett Mehldau stuff from, I think, live in Japan was a nightmare to transcribe. Do you need to make a concentrated effort to be inventive, or does it just become automatic? Is inventive eventually automatic? That's tough. It's hard to answer. I think the more I practice, being inventive is luck. But as we know, luck isn't like being in the zone. The more you do something, the luckier you get. You know that saying? The more you do something, the luckier you get. Practice covering new ground. Practice playing things that are uncomfortable and unfamiliar. Practice ingraining habits. For instance, if you play a lot, if you start all your phrases on beat 2, know that and start practice starting phrases on beat 3, on beat 4. Discover bad habits in your playing and fix them, and you will become more inventive from that. All of us have bad habits in our playing. Some of us play too many eighth notes. Some of us start all of our phrases on beat 2 and or beat 3. We have to know what those bad habits are and correct for them through deliberate practice. And by doing that, it will increase our inventiveness in real time because we're balancing our own habits. The mind is designed to sort of find things that work and fixate on those things because the mind is designed by evolution to make you exert as little effort as possible. And that's cool in most parts of life. That's how you learn to drive on autopilot, for instance, but it's bad for creativity. Your mind also finds things that work in playing and just sticks to those things. And so it doesn't have to exert effort. But then what happens is then your creativity suffers as a result of that, because now you're just doing the same thing all over again. So what I would say, don't let your mind fixate on things. Don't let your mind stagnate. Discover your mind's habits. Like I named a few habits before. Like you know, like, and then correct for those habits, and you will increase the inventiveness. As a beginner player, should I try copying other people's performances of tunes? I struggle to make my own ideas feel. Yes, I would always recommend finding recordings you're in love with and transcribing them. Find recordings you're in love with and try to learn how to play them. Slow them down with software if you can. Guys, this whole thing with transcribing is big. Don't be afraid to transcribe things you love. You're not going to lose your personal style. That's a bunch of baloney, okay? You'll never lose your personal style. Herbie Hancock said, imitate, what did he say? Integrate, innovate, or something like that. First, you copy other people, you internalize it, and then you innovate it in your own way. Don't be afraid to transcribe ideas you love. There's a reason why you resonate with something in the first place. There's a reason something moves your heart in the first place. It's because you see yourself in it in the first place. How do you practice and develop your piano touch and technical thing? There's a book by Donjani, Hungarian, I think, pianist and composer, about the finger exercises, essential finger exercises. That's really good for the technical thing. Develop my piano touch. The piano touch starts in your head, okay? The piano touch, all your hands are doing, they're trying to emulate how you hear the sound in your head. I hear a certain pretty sound in my head, and until my hands hit that sound, they're trying to nail that sound of piano that I hear in my head. And I hear my sound based on my preference and my taste. I hear a certain piano sound in my head, and my fingers are, at this point, masterful enough to try and copy that sound from my head, that singing beautiful tone, into the piano. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. It depends on whether I'm in shape or not. It depends on whether the piano is good or not. It depends on whether I'm concentrated or not, if I'm tired, I've got sleep or not. But essentially, the piano tone starts in your head, not in your hands. Video and melodic minor, absolutely. Absolutely. I can totally do a video on melodic minor. And like what do you mean specifically? Like patterns in it, like what exists in it, what lives in it. Thank you, Greg, by the way. I appreciate that. I forgot about this function. I'll absolutely do that. You give too much homework. Video about comping is coming. I just need to get a soloist to do it with me. Is there a consistent way to connect theory and emotion? Yes. Play what you hear. Develop your inner listener. I have a video about how to develop your inner listener. Check it out. I listen to audiobooks when I'm stuck in traffic, you guys. I listen to audiobooks, have nothing to do with music. I listen to different books. If you can, please click like on this video so that people discover it. The more likes there are, the more people will see that I'm live streaming. I know I keep repeating myself. Please forgive me. I just know that there's new people here that show up. That's why I keep repeating myself. Thank you so much for clicking like. This way people will discover the video. Do you think about scales or chords, play over changes? Not anymore. Not if I know the song. If I don't know the song, I kind of, as soon as I see a chord, I have a grid of notes that lights in front of me, right? As soon as I see a chord, do I think about scales or chords when I play? When I see C major 7, in my mind's eye, I see notes. I see exactly what notes are available for C major 7. As soon as I see E flat minor or E flat half diminished on the page, immediately a scale of notes lights up in my mind of which notes are available. And I look at the keyboard and I see those notes on the keyboard, which notes are available. So yeah, I don't think about it because as soon as I see a chord, I already know what the scale is right away. But generally, yeah, you have to think about it first, slowly, until it becomes autopilot. And as soon as you see a chord, you know exactly what scale goes over it. And I'm writing a book about that right now, and I'm training you guys in that book how to do it. It'll be available next year, maybe sooner. Do you think about my own philosophy is important. An artist to be a better artist. I don't think thinking about your own philosophy is important. I think you should play what you think is beautiful. Everything you think is beautiful, study it. You think Chick Corea played something beautiful? Study the crap out of it. That's important. Your philosophy will come through when you apply your taste. Your philosophy and your taste are linked. Okay? So just work on your inner listener. Work on playing from your inner listener and not from your finger muscle memory. Because your inner listener is already linked up with your philosophy. Okay? You don't have to worry about thinking about your philosophy. Your taste is going to do all that for you because you have a taste, right? So make sure your taste plays a role in your playing. Make sure your taste plays a role in your playing, and that's how your philosophy is going to go through. But a lot of people don't have a taste that plays a role in their playing because they play from muscle memory, and that you do have to focus on. That you do have to work on. Your session of playing scales over changes was the best. Thank you. There's a book coming on that. When would you use half whole scales? On diminished chords, on some dominant chords, I would for sure use that scale. Can I talk about playing free? Yeah. Voicing. Okay, just look. It doesn't matter. Here's how it works: free or not free. There's a saying I like very much. Compositions should have the spontaneity of improvisations. Improvisations should have the structure of compositions. Keep this in mind and play whatever you want. Free, atonal, whatever. Compositions should have the livelihood and spontaneity of improvisations, and improvisations should have the structure of compositions. And then play whatever the hell you like. Do I have recommendations of method books for practicing? Yes. Hal Crook, How to Improvise, is a great book. That's my recommendation. Hal Crook, How to Improvise. Estimated time, I'm touring so much. Estimated time for the book, sometime towards the end of this year. Stay tuned. I don't want to do a half-assed job on it. I'm doing it full on. I'm having an editor edit it. I'm like doing it big time. I can't find a book like this that I like, and so I decided to write one. There's a bunch of, I'm going to do a book about left hand that no one's done. There's a bunch of books I'm going to write. This is towards the end of the year. Do I use half whole scales much? Yeah, absolutely. On a bunch of dominant chords. How to build a good ensemble? Well, it's just like what you like in your food. Do you like pepper? Teach us how to build a good ensemble. Do you like pepper with egg, or do you like paprika with bread? Everything has a certain ensemble. Every combination of instruments has a different flavor, and that just comes down to whether you want the flavor or not. Is it okay to analyze everything from an Ionian perspective? Not sure if it, you can. I prefer to give it all its own sort of chord scale. You can analyze anything from an Ionian perspective of like starting in a different place in the Ionian and then you have a different mode. Sure, but then why not? It's already a different mode, right? So I kind of try to give each chord a different scale. I know not everybody does that this way, but I do. That's kind of how I like it. Is it okay to analyze? I can't keep straight when to play half, whole diminished, or whole half. Yeah, practice it very slowly. Your fingers are not used to it. Your mind is not used to it. Practice it slowly in the tempo. Find the tempo where it's doable but challenging but doable, and start there. It's just gonna take a while to ingrain it into your mind, just like every other skill. My first teacher said like, but he really couldn't show me how to see it. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad I could show you how to see it. What software and tools publishers such are you going to use for your book? Oh, I have a person who's going to help me with that. I'm using Scrivener to write the book. In terms of editing the book and publishing the book, I'm hiring someone to do it. I would not dare to start doing all that. Hal Clarke book is great. He scared me when he said you have to become a virtuoso. Well, yeah. Israel is producing a whole well amazing musicians. How is the music scene in Israel? I don't know how the music scene is in Israel right now because I haven't lived there in 20 years. But yes, our high school students from the Tel Mayalin High School usually know more things than Berklee third semester students know. It's just a higher level of teaching. I don't know why it's so, but that's just the way it is. To graduate from high school in Tel Mayalin High School in Israel, you have to know certain things that third semester students in Berklee don't know. That's just how it goes, and that helps. Sick funky bass line, how to make, I don't know. You have to find a few you really like and learn how to play them and transcribe them. I'm sure you can find some that you really like. Which ones are those? Go transcribe them, understand them. And then there's no way of like, you ask how to make funky walking bass line. Okay, so start with a fifth, then another minor third, then on a pro, like I can't, there's no answer like that to your question, how to make a funky, sick, funky walking bass line. Like, how can I answer that? Like, start with a third, then play staccato, and then play legato, and add a fourth, right? You can't, there's no way to answer that. I'd have to hear you play and tell you what's missing. We could do that. Or you can go transcribe some awesome funky walking bass lines that you love, which I'm sure there exist, and try to figure those out and understand them. Do you think it has a particular key center? I don't think it has a key center, the half whole scale. It doesn't really matter. You just have to know where it applies. That's all that matters. The rest is for the books, and who cares? There's 3 you can do, and then they start repeating, right? From C sharp, and from D. And then as soon as you hit E flat, that's the same as C. So it doesn't matter what the key center is. How to get better gigs and offer yourself to the world. In the capacity of sideman or in the capacity of solo artist? I can find your appearances program. Can I find your appearance program next year? Yes, I need to do it on my freaking website. I'm a lazy ass. I need to put them. I'm about to tour Asia with Larry Carlton. I'm about to tour with Josh. And me and Bob have stuff in July with Bob Reynolds. Do you keep a practice journal to stay on task? You should. I don't because I'm an idiot. But yes, you should. You should, yes. What about interplay? Do you try to be aware of note choices of soloists? Do you respond to that? Absolutely, yes. I don't respond to that too much because it's tacky. You don't want to respond as soon as the soloist plays. But yes, I can always hear what the soloist is doing, and I can almost always repeat what they play because I have good relative pitch. So when I want to respond, I can. I know where they're at. Not all the time, but if I need to, I know, oh, that was far away from where my pinky is. Like, I know that. So that helps me respond. Again, relative pitch is everything, you guys. Relative pitch. If you don't have anything else, get relative pitch, and then you don't need me or anything. Well, I'm exaggerating, but I'm saying relative pitch will get you very, 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 very far. My second video is so your second video on soloing over changes. Do you think that exercise is easier for pianists? No, because it's linear. Linear is linear. What's the difference? If it, you have to figure out inside. I forgot what that video is, but whatever it is, soloing over changes is linear. You have to think of a chord scale and things inside that chord scale, and move it up and down the chord scale. Look, it's linear. It's the same thing. What? Can the piano player play a chord scale and a guitar player can't? No, a guitar player can play a chord scale very well. Well, if you can play a chord scale, then you can move things inside that chord scale. Right? Or whatever I was teaching over there. How to rehearse your band effectively. Yeah, that's an important topic. What are your thoughts on negative harmony? My thoughts on negative harmony is that most people who are interested in it are about 7 years away from needing it. That's my thoughts on negative harmony. it became a trend. Like a lot of people write me and they ask me certain things, like they watch my video on doing improvising on chord changes or this, and then we get on a Skype camera and they can't even play well over a C7, and they want to learn how to play on chord changes of giant steps or negative harmony is amazing. It's awesome. I think it's freaking very, very cool and so much color and so much options, but it's more of a trend. Like give me a line of 100 people who are curious about negative harmony, and I can show you they can't even improvise over rhythm changes very well. Yet here they are trying to get negative harmony. How about, like, it's cool, it's amazing. It's amazing, but I wouldn't get stuck. It's such a trend, and there's a lot of videos on it. How do you learn to play solo jazz piano? I feel like I'm very dependent on bass player. Yes, learn to play solo jazz piano. Classical piano helps with that, because then you start playing like a pianist and not just like a trio pianist. Classical music helps. Listening to a lot of other piano players play solo piano helps. Trying to figure out how they comp themselves when they play solo piano. Listen to a Corea album called Expressions. Listen to Brett Mehldau solo piano album called Elegiac Cycle. Listen to any Keith Jarrett solo piano album, which are many. Listen to Herbie Hancock solo records. Try to figure out how they comp them for themselves. How do you practice relative pitch? Derek asks. Derek, my friend, let me tell you, I have no idea. I'm figuring that out right now. I'm figuring that out right now. I have no idea how to do that. I've had relative pitch since I was 6. I was just lucky. You know how some people have blue eyes, or like a small foot, or a big foot, or a small wrist? That's how I had relative pitch. I was very lucky, and it very much helped me. So I have no idea. I'm going to think about that a lot, and I'm going to try to make a method, because I feel like it's so important, and I have no idea how to teach that. Can guitarists and pianists coexist peacefully? Yes, if they don't step on each other's feet when they play. There it is, relative pitch. Everyone always harps about perfect pitch. Screw perfect pitch. Listen to me, read my lips. Relative pitch is God. Relative pitch is God. Screw perfect pitch. Perfect pitch is nice. Relative pitch is everything. If you hear intervals, you hear music, because music is intervals. And hearing intervals is relative pitch. Do you guys make fun of Yannick for making goofy faces while playing? I would make fun of Yannick for sure, but I make such goofy faces myself that I have no right to do that. What do you think about standards that were written for saxophone and are very difficult fingering on piano? Is it a good goal? Are there fast bebop standards? Good idea. Yeah, I think the whole fingering thing needs to be over. You should know your instrument enough to be able to play everything, okay? This is like, to me, talking about fingering is, you see how my jaw moves, right? You see how my jaw moves? Every time I say something, I have to find a way to move my jaw. Every time I play something, I have to find a way to move my tongue. But I control my mouth so well that I can just speak. I don't think about that, all right? So if you don't know what fingerings to use for this or for that, it means you're not a good enough instrumentalist, all right? True, some fingerings will be more difficult. That's true. But that's your problem. Some words are more difficult to pronounce. Like the word pronounce is hard to say. But I speak well enough so I can move my jaw and my tongue, and I say the word pronounce, even though it's a hard word. Why? Because I control my mouth well, all right? It's the same with fingerings. Like, you should be able to play anything if you control your instrument enough. Find the fingerings, play it slow. Like, if fingerings is a problem, you probably shouldn't be dealing with the musical subject matter. Like, if I'm telling you to learn to play over chord changes and you don't know what fingers to use, you're not ready to learn to play over chord changes. because you don't control your instrument good enough. In live situation, improvising, you're going to have to make 20 fingering decisions every 10 seconds if you want to improvise. If I'm giving you an exercise how to improvise over chord changes and you don't know what fingers to use, you shouldn't be worried about improvising on chord changes. You should be worried about controlling your instrument better and practice that. Because when you improvise, you have to make those fingerings decisions in real time. What are you going to do then? Ask people which fingers to use in real time? No, you have to control the instrument better. So that's how I say it. I'm sorry to be so harsh, but that's like billion people ask me about fingerings. Fingerings is like moving your mouth when you talk. If you don't control it good, of course it's not black and white. Sometimes it's hard for me too to find the fingerings. Okay, once every 5 years that happens. And though I just sit slowly and figuring out because I understand the instrument. So sit slowly and figure it out. Work on the technical aspects. If you're trying to figure out how to do my exercises and you don't know which fingers to use, you're not ready for my exercises. Not because I'm such an advanced genius, but if I'm trying to teach you how to talk poetry and you don't know how to move your mouth to say the word, then you're not ready for poetry. You need to learn the language first. You need to understand your mouth, how to move the jaw when you say this, how to move the tongue when you say that. Hey man, very cool that you're doing this. How would you suggest structuring your practice sessions without being for the lessons? Focus on 1-2 topics at a time and then move on to the next topic. Focus on, if you have 20 things to work on, take a year to work on that. But don't work on 20 things at a time. Work on 2 things at a time. Relative pitch can be developed by singing the note. Yeah. What do you expect from jazz bass player? I expect from jazz bass player to know how to outline harmony. Phone keeps ringing. Sorry. My phone keeps ringing. I expect from jazz bass player how to outline the harmony really well, the way he accompanies. Maybe start with slow notes on the bass first, then go to faster notes. Who knows? Like, I expect from him to play compositionally if he's a bass player behind me. To think compositionally and be able to outline the changes. Have I ever transcribed myself? Yes, I've transcribed myself. I recommend it. It's a terrible experience, but I recommend doing it because you will learn a lot about the things you're doing wrong. Your teacher puts you through your training exercises. Absolutely great. There's nothing better than that. There's nothing better than that. Absolutely great. Whew. I think I'm catching up on these questions. Oh God, so wow, that's really hard. I want to focus on certain, maybe next time I'll focus on a few questions. Maybe already asked, I find it hard to play bass line on keyboard while improvising in right hand. Yeah, it's hard. I find it hard too. Do it slowly for a while. First of all, be able to play a left hand bass line by itself. Easily. As soon as you see a set of changes, you should be able to walk it easily with one hand. Okay, from there, you can add the right hand. First of all, you have to be able to play effortlessly the left hand bass, like no problem. If you can't do that, of course, you won't be able to do it well with both hands. So, that's another thing. And then, very slowly in slow tempos. Again, if you guys can, hit the like button on this video so other people discover this video. I know I'm repeating myself, but if there's new people here, maybe you guys could help out and click the like button on this video so other people discover it. Yeah, next lesson I need to work a bit on solve fingering problem. The bird. Yeah, right. Figure out the fingerings first, and the fingerings is easy. Just play slowly with different kinds of fingerings, and see which one feels cozy to you, and then stick with that one, and then hammer that one. Try different ones slowly. And whichever fingering feels cozy and, oh, this is nice. Yeah, stick with that one. Your hand will tell you which one is better for you. But do it slowly and then stick with that one when it's time to play fast tempos. Yeah, you guys, this is exciting. I'm so excited. This is cool. There's a lot of you guys showed up. I've been answering a lot of questions quickly. I can either answer a lot of questions quickly or I can answer a few questions in depth. We'll see. We'll try both. How do you go about practicing drop 2 chords? Did you practice harmony? I have a video on drop 2 chords. Check it out. Ruslan, do you have any advice for me? I'm 24 years old and I've played guitar since I was a kid, but now I'm switching to piano There are so many things to learn that I don't know. Yeah, if you're switching, take lessons. Don't start by yourself. When you're starting to drive a car, you start lessons. When you start something from the beginning, you take lessons for a while. Not forever, but for a while. Start taking lessons. If you're starting a new instrument, start lessons with people for 6 months or 8 months. Just to get your train on the rails, so to speak. Just to get you going on the right direction, and then you can do it yourself. How do you play such variety of styles and still sound like yourself? Do you have different set of limitations when you play pop or with Bob or try it? Yeah, hell yeah. I love different styles of music. Are you kidding me? Do you know how much pop I listen to? I understand styles of music. I understand when you talk to a kid, who a 5-year-old, you talk in one way. When you talk to an elder who's 80, you talk in another way. When you talk to your peer, you talk in another way. When you talk to a peer who has a Down syndrome, you talk in another way. You have to understand the situation you're in. You're not going to talk to a 5-year-old the same way you talk to me. Every situation poses certain constraints on you. If you don't understand what 5-year-olds are like, you're going to talk to them like you talk to adults, because you're an idiot. But if you're not an idiot, you understand that 5-year-olds are not adults. So you have to understand what they're like, and then you'll be able to talk to them. The constraints are, dictated to you by the situation you're in. If I'm talking to someone who's my age who has Down syndrome, right, I'm going to have a different kind of conversation with them because I have a vague idea of what they can and cannot understand, give or take. If I'm talking to an elder who's 81 and has Alzheimer's, I'm going to talk a different way because I have a vague idea, kind of, give or take, of where their boundaries are at. They have Alzheimer's or whatever. If I'm talking to a professor of philosophy, I'm going to talk a certain way because that's the constraints. You either understand the situation you're in or you don't. Same happens in music. Do you understand pop music? Do you understand what makes it work? Do you understand why adding a 9 to that triad sounds like crap? Do you understand that? Do you hear the difference when you play a triad and when you add a stupid, unnecessary tension to a Katy Perry song? Do you understand why it sounds like shit? Do you hear that it sounds bad? It's the same thing. Do you hear when you start quoting Nietzsche to a 5-year-old, the 5-year-old doesn't understand what you're saying? Do you register that? It's the same thing. Do you either understand the situation you're in or you don't? I generally do. I'm sure there are people who understand even deeper than I do. People like Larry Goldings, for example. Right? Larry Goldings plays all styles, and oh my God, is he freaking amazing. I'm like that too, but I think he's deeper than me. He understands even deeper different musical situations and more subtlety and more depth. And I hope to be like him one day. What's your approach to composition? It's such a broad question. I try to hear the melodies in my head first and then hammer out the details. I try to start the composition away from the instrument. If I hear a melody in my head, I start with melody very often. If I hear a melody in my head, I'll start there. I want the melody to come to me by itself. Do you play any other instruments than piano? Yes, I recommend it. I play bass really well, and I play drums decently well. And I play guitar okay. I recommend it very much. Can you live off of gigs that don't include sight reading, and should I just bite the bullet and learn to read? Of course you can read off of gigs that don't include sight reading. People who tour for Justin Bieber don't sight read. People who play for Christina Aguilera, many of them don't sight read. Most pop musicians today are church gospel musicians who grew up at church, who memorize music when they hear it, and they can't sight read. Most church musicians can't sight read, and they play the majority of pop gigs and make a great living. You absolutely don't need to sight read to make a living. Hey, you're 2 years old. That's funny. Yeah, Larry Goldings is wild. Yeah, he's amazing. What do you think about incomplete voicings and thinking melodically and comping instead of using pre-made voicings? Oh, I love that. If you're sensitive enough to do it in real time, that's great. You can do the reading away from instrument, sure. It just, those things are such small things to me. Yeah, I'm sure it'll contribute something. I don't see how it's going to hurt, away from reading away from the instrument. I just don't see how that's going to make a tremendous difference. I like how you spoke about old genres without bad-mouthing. Too many old jazz musicians tend to badmouth pop or hip-hop. Larry is an exception, I think. Yeah, that's because old jazz musicians don't understand music a lot of times. Old jazz musicians only understand music they like. And they can even be great musicians, by the way. Just like, for example, a great Christian philosopher is an amazing, deep philosopher, until it comes to, Muslim philosophy and Sufism and Muslim contemplative philosophy, and then he thinks it's all trash. He's amazing in his own field, but he's limited by his own field. Yeah, are you kidding me? Pop music is insanely profound. I love pop music. I listen to mostly pop music, or at least I did for many years. Thanks for sharing. Hope you do well. Thank you, my friend. Could you explain Mingo's tune, Goodbye Pork Pie, had changes? Oh, yeah, those changes are nuts. I'll do a video about that. What did I learn from playing with Kamasi and Steven and Thundercat? Well, I've been playing with these people since 2008, long before they were famous or known. We used to play in bars for years and years. I learned that from Steven and Kamasi, man, having a heart and having a real intention behind your music is going to communicate to people. What originates in the heart arrives at the heart of others. If there's anything I learned from Steven and Kamasi, it's that. What originates here will hit the hearts of other people. Not all people, but many people. How do you live from music as a composer, producer? You compose and produce for free for a long time, for student films, for projects. Hopefully you do it when you're young. And if you do a tremendous job, they're going to recommend you to other friends. And then you keep doing it for free until you have a name and you've done a bunch of stuff for free. And then people want you because they want that result. And then you start charging. And then they'll pay. Can there be a jazz musician that does not like bop or swing? Sure. Oh, shit. Flying Lotus is here. Oh. What's up, Flying Lotus? You guys know Flying Lotus? Well, there's a revolutionary artist of today who will prove to you that you don't need traditional anything to be profound. What's up, Lilo? What's up, my brother? Can there be a jazz musician that doesn't like bop or swing? Maybe, but bop or swing teach you narrative improvisation. They teach you how to give a speech. If you're a jazz musician, how can you not like music that teaches you how to give a speech? If you don't care about giving speeches in your solo, then in which way are you a jazz musician? Right? You don't have to like swing or bebop language, but you have to like the motivic development, the continuity, the sermon, so to speak. Bebop will teach you how to give a sermon. So you must like that part of bebop. Because that's what, if you don't like that, why do you like jazz at all? Focus on easy tunes, James, at first. Absolutely. Love you, Flylo, my brother. I'm sorry I'm getting I'm getting these comments late. You the best. I'm playing over these chords changes, man. Oh, brother, I can only imagine what Flying Lotus is going to do with all this crap. Talk about a guy who thinks out of left field. Man, I'm scared teaching you stuff, man. I'm scared teaching you shit. I already know it's gonna, because your mind processes it. You guys, I know you guys know who Flying Lotus is. If you don't, go check him out. To me, Flying Lotus is indistinguishable. Like, if you like Thundercat, you already know Flying Lotus. Hand-on exercises, important or not necessary. Control over your instrument is important. If you want to arrive at that control with hand-on exercises, do it that way. If you want to arrive at it some other way, do it some other way. I don't care how. Get control over your instrument. Get amazing control. I'm writing a book about that right now. Hand-on can help with that. Oh, Word, help. I'm gonna roll through. Text me. Word, my brother. Let's do it. Yeah, I'll be done. I'll be done in a few minutes. I'll roll through. But I don't mean necessarily composing and producing for other people. I think about how to promote yourself. Okay, well, release music all the time for free on Instagram, on Facebook. hashtag the crap out of it. If people like it, they like it. They're gonna follow you, and then you'll build a crowd. You know, if you don't mean necessarily producing for others, but for yourself. Okay, release a bunch of music all the time. People will like it. If the people who it resonates with, it will resonate with. Favorite interval? I don't think I have one. I'm sorry. That's like asking a mathematician. Well, you can actually ask a mathematician their favorite number. Favorite interval? I doubt I have one. You guys, these questions. I wish I could get more in depth. Maybe next time I'll get more in depth into a few questions. Hold on. Love your music, learn a ton of your channel. Thank you. How about interacting with the drummer? Yes, I studied a bunch of drum books and I play drums myself, and I recommend it. Interacting with a drummer is a big deal. Most instruments are rhythmic instruments. Most instruments are rhythmic intervals. And interacting with the drummer, again, you have to do it tastefully. You have to do it in a good measure. Don't overdo it too much. But definitely be able to do that. Definitely be able to interact with the drummer, understand. I have a video about comping on piano and how it's all connected with the drummer's snare drum and how it's the same rhythms as the comping. The same goes for comping on guitar and like a swing song. The snare drum is a big teacher of how to rhythmically comp. I have a video about that. You guys should check it out. It's about left hand for pianists. Whew, we've been going hard at this, boy. I hope I was able to answer some of your guys' questions. I think I even made $2. Someone paid $1.90 for me to answer their question. Thank you so much. I forgot you can even do that. That helps a lot, you guys, because I basically, for me to do this, I have to not do other things. Who's your most influential smooth jazz piano artist? I like Jeff Lorber a lot. My problem with smooth jazz, I love smooth jazz, you guys. I think you can play smooth jazz so beautifully. The problem with smooth jazz is it's a genre that allows you to succeed without actually being amazing. Because if you're decent and you put up a good show, you can already sound okay and it's fine. And many smooth jazz artists aren't amazing. They just put up a good show and they're decent and it's good enough. I think smooth jazz is amazing. I love smooth jazz. It just has to be played well, and I don't hear it played well very often. And that's why I criticize this style, because this style allows you to succeed without actually being amazing. And that sucks. I think smooth jazz is amazing. Is an amazing genre, an amazing style that you play really, really well. Bill, thank you so much, my friend. Hey, Ruslan, can you talk about being on the road touring, as in how to deal with traveling and then having to perform and give it 100%? Crap. You don't always give it 100%. If you haven't slept in 2 weeks, you don't give it 100%. Hopefully you come with enough reserves. With enough reserves that you can, that you still have good enough stuff that even if it's 73%, it's still good. I'm sorry if that's not the answer you were looking for. Sometimes you don't give it 100%. You haven't slept well in 9 days and you have a flu like I did on this recent tour. Sarah, what's up, girl? I'm about to have these cookies. How's that jazz life? Yep. Oh, can I pay? Oh, thank you guys so much. This really helps. I'm planning to do this full time, and I'm writing these books, and like, I see Yannick doing it, and I see Bob doing it. And I'm like, man, you guys are geniuses. How did you pull it off? Should I start a podcast? Crap. I like listening to myself talk. I think I'm gonna get a bunch of guests and get Hadrian Farad on here, and get Dennis Chambers, and get Stanley Clarke, and get Yannick and Bob, and get a bunch of other people and do podcasts with them. And we're gonna have a whiskey and run our mouth for 2 hours. Oh God, don't tempt me with a good time. Yep. I'll get stoned, yeah. Yeah. Stanley would come. Stanley is very insightful, you guys. Stanley Clarke is incredibly insightful. I don't know that I'd be able to do it every week, but every other week. Stanley Clarke he would definitely do it. I think I could get Bob Mincer to do it. I think I could get Hadrian Farad to do it. Definitely Yannick and Bob. Maybe Dennis Chambers when I see him. Maybe Vinny when I see him. I think I'd be able to get these people to do it. I don't know. I would try. Nice. I think I answered about to practice groove. Play with a groovy drummer. Play to groove records like Life on Planet Funk, Life on Planet Groove by Maceo Parker. Play with groove records. Listen to a lot of groove music. Play to Flying Lotus. That's freaking correct. Absolutely play to Flying Lotus. Are you kidding me? Holy cow, that guy is funky. I like to transcribe guitar parts by the meters. James Brown guitar parts. All right, Sarah. Thank you, sweetie. I'll see you soon. How to implement polyrhythms on piano? That's my next video. I'm going to have 3 or 4 videos about polyrhythms. I'm going to show you. Oh, no, my man. Thank you. Don't bother. You don't have to pay. This is for free. I'm just saying it helps when you guys ask. I don't know. Usually the pay is because people answer the questions when the questions come with the, that paying option on YouTube. I don't answer those questions. I answer every question. But there's an option to pay for the questions, and that always helps. Memorizing tunes along with technique as soloist. Memorizing tunes, loop sections. Loop the first 4 bars until you memorize it. Loop the next 4 bars until you memorize that. Then loop the first 8 bars. Right? Then section by section, loop sections in the tune. That's how you memorize tunes. Loop sections and then connect the sections and then loop that until you loop the whole tune. How do you approach writing and arranging for strings? Is it much different from how you would voice chords on the piano? Yes and no. James, thank you so much, my friend. Yes and no. It's different, but it's not really different. Some of it can be like a piano. Some techniques apply strictly to strings. So some of the voicings for strings is just like piano, while other techniques are different and they're just for strings. So you'd have to get deep into that. I love Vince Mendoza for that. I love Clare Fischer for that. Check out Clare Fischer arrangements for strings. Check out Vince Mendoza's arrangements for strings. They are all to die for. Okay? To die for. Clare Fischer, to die for. Vince Mendoza, arrangement for strings, to die for. Do you ever play in Seattle? Absolutely. The Jazz Alley, I think. Dimitri's Jazz Alley. I was just there 6 months ago with Larry Carlton. Absolutely, I played in Seattle. Are you kidding me? That club. Is funk jazz? Not quite, but there is a link. You could implement jazz over funk, but funk is a lot about rhythm and making things feel a certain way dancing-wise. Well, jazz is too, but a little different. There's a lot of other things going on in jazz. Wow, you guys, this is so much fun. This is so much fun. Would I ever play with Kneebody? Yeah, I would. Are you kidding me? Ben is amazing. They don't need me. They have Adam over there. He's a dude. Yeah, I would play with Kneebody. Are you kidding me? Hey, Liz. Yeah, Kneebody are unbelievably good. Oh my God. Fuck yeah, I would play with Kneebody. I don't think they need me. In fact, I'm pretty sure they don't. But yeah, I would love to play with Kneebody. They're sick. My region, Iceland, doesn't allow me to use the payment option. But oh, don't worry about it, my friend. Thank you so much for being so kind. I appreciate you trying. I really appreciate it. Classical piano other than technique? What is there to learn classical piano other than technique? Textures, how to accompany yourself. how to break out, how to implement different accompaniment on solo piano, different devices of accompanying, how to arpeggiate certain chords. You can use those techniques when you play by yourself. Hard to adapt playing different pianos on tour, or just used to it by now? I'm used to it, man. It sucks, but I'm used to playing different pianos. Whatever, I don't even care anymore. Are you inspired by progressive rock? I'm not deeply familiar with progressive rock, Gary. I maybe want to check out some more of that. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there aesthetically. It's a little bit too through composed for my taste in terms of like A section, B section, D section, G section, E section, F section, W section, Z section, and then back to A. It's a little too through composed for my taste, not composed enough. It's more about aesthetics to me, but that's not the entirety of progressive rock at all. The best progressive rock is composed like amazingly. So yes, absolutely yes. Can you shout out my homie Mike Hum? He loves your channel. What's up, Mike Hum? Shout out. How do you like Flying Lotus is asking me a question, which means there's something I know that he presumably doesn't, which is very weird. But I'll answer it. How do you like divide your practice time? Where should most of the time be spent? Most of the time should be spent on deciding on one area you want to fix and spending. I like to make a list of 100 things I suck at and pick 2 and stick to those things for 2-3 months and practice nothing except those things. And then once you've found what those 2 things are you're going to focus on for the next month and a half, then you find methods of practicing them. But just most of the time should be spent attacking the biggest of your shortcomings, brother. You have a bunch of shortcomings. I have a bunch of shortcomings. Determine what those are very clearly. Pick 2 and attack them for 2 months and practice nothing else but that. That's what I think it is. Larry Goldings just did a live Q&A on Jazz Haven. Oh yeah, man. Larry Goldings is a beast. Plus, it's I spoke to classical music influence. I mean, use example of adagio for strings, which of course, oh, dude, Larry Goldings is just next level. I'm in love with Larry Goldings' playing. And do you have any tip for staying melodic content through your improvised line? Yes, I have a playlist about motivic development. Check it out. It's all about that. It's all about that. And check out a lot of Keith Jarrett's playing. He stays melodic. Oh, that's my tip. I think Epistle asked him bring on Hans Greiner. That's funny. Yeah, I love that thing he does with Hans Greiner. Hold on. However, met or played with Corey Henry? Of course. I usually catch Corey at NAMM, and I just ran into him at the Federal Bar the other day in LA. Yeah, I played with him a couple times. Corey's unbelievable. Holy cow, is he unbelievable. What a great player. Talk about someone who started at the church, but just was so talented that he outgrew it. He just outgrew it. He just started playing with Kenny Garrett. And Corey, I don't think, comes from a traditional jazz background. He comes from a gospel background. But he's just so gifted. He just figured the rest of it out. Monster player. As for your shortcomings, what are you currently working? Ralph, thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your support. As for your shortcomings, what are you working on at the moment? Oh, man. Keeping a storyline in my solo and not having to restart my storyline every chorus. I'm working on my last chorus being still connected to the first chorus, and I don't know how to do that really well. Finn Gurm, I think, is the birthday. Maybe I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Finn Gurmy, I don't know, but shout out to him and happy birthday. Ralph, thanks, man. I can't believe listening to this on a plane. Oh my goodness, thank you, Ralph. Thank you for being so kind. I really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. You're on a plane. That's crazy. Holy shit. That's amazing. And thank you for being so generous. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. Joey Alexander, what are your thoughts Joey Alexander, how you explain maturity at such a young age? My thoughts on Joey Alexander are very simple. Do you know those kids who are 12 years old and they're amazing at math? And they do math or they do basketball better than everybody? Guys, hard work matters, but talent, natural talent, also matters. Joey Alexander is ungodly talented person. Ungodly talented. You could be talented at math and do math better than your math teachers, and then you go to a special math school when you're 10. The same happens with music. It's just more talent than one person should have. That's Joey Alexander. Finn Gurmy. Hey Ruslan, glad I found you on YouTube. You provided the most enlightening guitar lessons. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you. I really appreciate your words. Playing as a soloist, will it be advised to practice tunes to have a variety of songs under my belt? Yeah, it's always cool to have a variety of songs under your belt, no matter what. I think. You guys, if you can press like on this stream, on this video, I would really appreciate it, because that's how people find out about it. If you can just hit the like button, the thumbs up. It's weird, but like I keep repeating it and I'm sorry, but when you do it, that's how people like find out that it exists, and then they can come on the stream and ask me questions. Ask more questions. Crap, I'm answering them all for free. Why not? I love that I have you guys. What a great community. iPad or paper? I don't know, Liz. I don't know. I'm about to go out with Josh Groban. iPad is obviously better, but iPad you watch one page at a time. So if you have 12 pages, you have to turn the page 12 times, as opposed to regular paper. You could look at 2 pages at the same time, and you have to turn 6 times instead of 12. So I don't know. I think iPad is amazing, but I wish I could see 2 pages at a time. Otherwise, I have to turn twice as often. And then I need to have Josh pay me a separate salary just for turning pages, because I will now have to do it twice as much as I would have otherwise. But then, you know, papers are bulky and iPad is comfortable. Tigran Hamasyan and polyrhythmic playing. Tigran Hamasyan is one of the greatest artists of our time. Tigran Hamasyan is an unbelievable artist. I know him personally and hang out with him and played with him and met him many times. Tigran Hamasyan is unbelievable. If I play Pokemon Go, I don't have time. I wish I could play Pokemon Go. Hey Ruslan, thank you so much for answering. How much music do you think is yet to discover? I know there are infinite possibilities, but actually humanity relevant leaps. Depends how long we get. It is infinite. I just don't know how long we have. The longer we have, the more we will discover, I'm sure. If we don't destroy ourselves in the next 100 years, then we'll discover even more. Depends how long we stick around. The longer we're able to sustain ourselves, the more unbelievable music will be discovered. I have no doubt about that. Gotta run for now. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us. Cheers. Cheers. Thank you so much for coming on the stream. This is awesome, you guys. Wow. This is so cool. This is so cool. Hold on. Wow. I'm gonna play some. 43 people. Right. I'm gonna play some music. Here's my tripod. We're gonna do some music. We're gonna do some music right now. What about avoid notes and voicings like mine? What are your thoughts on that? Avoid notes or avoid notes. Unless you're doing it on purpose for effect, you should know how to avoid them. Yeah. Then, just like every rule, you can break it once you have good control of the rules. Then you can break the rules. Ultimate practice routine, practicing improv through all keys. Yeah. Practice improving in all keys. Just regularly. The more you play in one key, the more you control that key. There's a reason you're good at certain keys, Jeff. It's because you played in those keys a lot. Understand? There's a reason why you control them so well, and it's not magic. No one gave you a pill to be good in the key of C. You just played on the key of C a lot. So now, you're good in that key. Same with the key of B. Do the same with the key of B. Improv in the key of B, slowly. And explore the chord scales and everything in the key of B. And you're going to improve in that key, I guarantee you. And I'm releasing a book soon that's going to help you do that. Hold on, I'm going to set up my tripod. Thanks for your sincerity. Repetition of this key. Yeah, the key that drives me crazy. The 12-string tapping instrument. I think I'm right. You're a true inspiration, Jeremiah. Thank you for all the videos. Thank you so much. I'm so happy you're enjoying my videos. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you so much. Hold on, let me try to set up this thing for maybe I can do some playing and show you guys some stuff. That's all keys. You see, like, I like this very much. Like, okay, well, if I like this very much, I'm gonna do. That's the secret. Practice in all keys. Just play in all keys. I like. Okay. There's no secret. You just have to practice on all keys. Ruslan, can you show your soloing practice method you have been teaching applied to giant steps? Yeah, it's the same thing. Look, I'm going to try to here. Okay, you guys hold on with the questions. I'm going to show you how I practice on giant steps, all the shit that I've been teaching you in the videos. All right, number one, I'm going to try to solo with whole notes, then half notes. Okay, so my practice method, okay, so it's whole notes, then half notes, and plural notes. Then I'm going to try to do motivic development, and then I'm going to try to, all this stuff that I teach you. Okay, so I'll do giant steps, whole notes first. Try to stay musical that way. And so on and so forth. Do you understand? Okay, now half notes. Try to be musical that way. See what I'm doing? I'm trying to make music with whole notes. trying to make music with half notes or whole notes. Now I'm going to introduce quarter notes. What am I doing? Why am I trying to be melodic and musical with half notes and whole notes? It's the same thing as money, you guys. If I give some of you $100 and you don't know how to spend $100 wisely, then you won't know how to spend $1 million wisely either. Understand? That's why when people look for investors into their projects, the investor says, show us what you've done with the money you do have. So it's the same thing. If you can't make music with limited resources, you won't be able to make music with... If you can't make music with limited resources, like limiting yourself on half notes and whole notes, then you won't be able to make music with full freedom and triplets and eighth notes. Limit yourself. Always limit yourself. If you can make music with half notes and whole notes, you will be able to do it with eighth notes and triplets and all that good stuff. Have you always liked jazz? Was the road to becoming where you are now fun? I love the sound of how you play. Yeah, it was fun because I'm lucky. I'm lucky to have been talented, and that was fun. I'm lucky to have been talented, but I can see how if it's not like that from young age, it could be different. 1 second, let me text someone back. 1 second. So yeah, I know the frustration. Practicing can be really frustrating. I know what you mean. 1 second, yes, and I'm meeting. We'll call back. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, you guys. Let's see if there's more questions. Looks like you don't use your fingers too much. Yeah, I don't even know. God and late, hello. Do you teach gospel jazz stuff? I do. I teach all of that stuff. I teach all of that stuff on Skype. When did you start playing piano? When I was 6. I'm 38 now, so a long time ago. I like really much your solo and down. Could you tell me how you made it? Down south? Yeah, it's a really funky consonant pentatonic bluesy tune. So I figured I'd start it exactly the opposite with weird chords and dissonant chords just to break up all the pentatonic consonant stuff. And then I got to the pentatonic consonant stuff eventually. But I started it in the weird sounds and textures because the tune is so pentatonic and bluesy. I was like, nah, let me take it somewhere else. Otherwise, it's going to become too much of that. Where am I from? I was born in Ukraine, and I grew up in Israel, and I've been living in the United States since 1999. I'm so glad you play for Bob Reynolds. Yeah, I'm glad I play for Bob Reynolds too. Bob is awesome, and his music is awesome. Yeah, you guys. It's a big thing to limit yourself. Is playing with kind of flat fingers bad technique? Yes, it is. But Horowitz used to play like that. Vladimir Horowitz. He got away with it. He's one of the greatest classical pianists who ever lived. But yeah, I still play like that. It's not good technique at all. Yeah, you guys, this is so much fun for me. Have I played with Snarky Puppy? No, I'm not really in that clique. I mean, I know those guys, but I'm not really in that circuit of people. That's different. I'm sort of more in LA. I've never played with Snarky as a band. I've played with some people who play in Snarky Puppy. But no, I've never been a band member for Snarky. Hey, Ruslan, any advice or practice technique for getting closer to playing what I'm thinking? Yes. Inner listener. I have a video about the inner listener. That's what the video is about. Look up my video, Miles, about how to develop your inner listener. That's what you're asking about. How much do you think influenced by your surroundings, though, regarding talent? I don't know how much by your surroundings, maybe a lot, but you're definitely born with a lot of talent, or like, there's definitely a born component. As to what the rest is, I'm sure there's also influence by the environment, of course, surrounding, absolutely. It's just not the only thing that matters. I think it's a stupid debate. I think that a lot has to do with the surroundings, and a lot has to do with genetics. I think it's both. Any advice in practicing locked hands? I don't know what that means, Paul. Maybe, crap. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't really know what that means. Thoughts on Hermeto Pascual and Sun Ra? I love Hermeto Pascual. I'm not familiar with Sun Ra's music in depth. Hermeto Pascual is amazing, obviously. But, I mean, Sun Ra is too. I'm just not as familiar. Do you know the solo of Kenny Carlton, Bring on the Night? Of course I do. Are you kidding me? That's all I used to listen to when I was 18. Any books on improvisation that really click with you? Yes. Hal Crook's book called How to Improvise. Hal Crook, How to Improvise. The best book on improvisation I've ever seen in my life. Sorry, English on Argentina. That's okay, come on. Do you think talent is based... What do you think, the ability to enjoy practicing, or is it natural ability to play and hear music? I think it's a little bit of both. It's definitely... ability. I think it's just ability to hear music and play music. It's just you understand things quicker. It's a form of intelligence. What is mathematics? Again, you want to ask me questions, ask yourself. It's the same as having talent for mathematics or basketball. Some people just get it quicker. And then talent alone is not enough. But hard work alone is also not enough. If you want greatness, you really need both. The great, great, great people are people who are more talented than everyone, who also worked harder than anyone. Andre Hayward, are you who I think you are? Andre Hayward, would you mind elaborating? Do you use chords and versions for connecting as well? Talk about use of thirds and fourths. Andre Hayward, if you are who I think you are, I don't understand why you need me to answer anything. You are an unbelievable trombone player. You discussed connecting changes with scales. You also spoke about using use of thirds and fourths. Would you mind elaborating? Do you use chord inventions for connecting? I don't usually use chord inversions for connecting. But that's definitely a way to go. I don't see why you couldn't do that. You could practice like that as well, I'm sure. You also spoke about use of thirds and fourths. I just like exploring different intervals within the chord scale, so I could really master the chord scale. Connecting changes with scales. Right, you also spoke about using thirds and fourths. You could totally do chord inversions. Do you like the style of Aaron Parks? Aaron Parks is my favorite piano player who is, mortal. Mortal, I mean not Keith Jarrett, not Brad Mehldau, not Kenny Kirkland or Herbie or Chick. Aaron Parks is probably my favorite piano player in my age group who is not like Brad Mehldau. Andre Hayward, you are a monster trombone player. And I think I remember you from Wally's, and dude, I don't know why you're watching this channel. Unless I'm mistaking you for someone else, I don't think there's anything you can ever learn from me. I think I must be mistaking you for you must be somebody else. Because if you're who I think, oh, it's you, fuck. Dude, what the fuck are you doing watching my channel? Man, I used to go to Wally's and just cry listening to you play. 15 years ago. What are you talking about chord inversions with me for? You are probably one of the best trombone improvisers I've heard already then. And I can only imagine now. You guys, this cat here is asking me questions. I have no idea why. He is one of the best musicians. No, I accept the compliment, but holy cow, I can't believe you're here. Like, I look up to you big time, dude. You're such a monster player. You already were then, unless you forgot everything you know how to play. Like, well, thank you, friend. You're a wonderful musician as well. Thank you so much, Andre. Back those Wally's days, like, I'll never forget hearing you play back then. I was like, this is next level. I was always a jazz guy, but I'm kind of an all-around guy. I never went into that depth that I feel like you went and Walter Smith went and Kendrick and those guys. Like, I never went as deep with jazz because I was playing R&B and playing fusion and funk and other stuff. But to me, you guys are like the absolute truth. And Andre Hayward is here with us, guys. Okay. I don't know what else to add to that. So, well, let's see. In math and physics, one optimist thought some of the best worked through the best. There's kind of lineage in physics, for example. Right. Right. My man, much love to you, Andre. I'm really humbled and kind of taken by surprise that you find anything interesting in you and what I'm saying. Because from hearing you play, I figured the only reason you wouldn't list all of the things that I teach is because you'd be too lazy to do it. But I don't think there's anything I know that you don't know and that you didn't already know 25 years ago, to be honest with you. And certainly you implement the stuff I teach much better than I do in my playing. that much I know for sure. So thank you. I'll take the compliment. This just shows why you're as good as you are. If you still take interest in these things after all these years, and well, it's not surprising that you are as good as you are, and you've already been that good back then, man. Holy shit. We used to come check out Andre play, and we're like, I can't believe you can even play trombone like this. Man. Let's see what else. Oh, there's 52 people here. If someone's new, you guys, please click the like button so that people discover about this. I'm sorry to keep repeating myself, but the more likes there are on this video, the more people will discover that this video is happening. So if you can hit that like button, the thumbs up, it's gonna really help because people will discover and they'll come and I'll ask for them. I know for those of you who've been here for a while now on this stream, you've heard me say it a billion times and I apologize. but there's also new people here, so when they hit like, that helps. Would you dig some Chilean music? Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, the people have developed music, and it's always great if people have depth in them, ingrained, I don't know, God-given depth. And if you leave them alone, they'll come up with some awesome music. Give them a couple hundred years. So Chilean music took a long time for the Chilean people to come up with a tradition as an actual style. And it has all the wisdom and structure and insight of those people and their lives and their experiences. Of course, it's going to be awesome music. Do I know Leo Genovesa really well? He's a good friend of mine. We went to Berklee together. Leo plays with a bunch of people. He played with Esperanza for a long time, who also went to school with us. Yeah, Leo was great. Leo was an amazing piano player. Also really sensitive, really kind of refined. I really like Leo. Yeah, you guys. So I guess when you have 8,500 followers, you get to have 51 people on your stream on average. Have you heard Hal Galper's Forward Motion? I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. I'll check it out because I love Hal Galper. Thoughts on getting a teacher versus going to school for music? Get a teacher. School is good for environment. School is good to be in an environment of musicians, which is very important. But if you don't care about that, if you just want the information, get teachers. That's up to you. When I come to my house and jam, dude, I'm trying to stay home while I'm off tour. I'm trying to stay in my own house. I'm never here. I'm touring so much. I would totally come. I just really want to. I'm like enjoying staying home so much because I'm never here. I'm a homebody. Great book indeed. Thoughts on Jesus Molina? Yeah, he's a virtuoso, super talented player. He's a super gifted player. He's of the more flashy variety that I don't care much for. Like, I'm not really into, that's not what I'm not into the flash. He has got more than flash, a lot more. But he's also does a lot of flashy stuff on social media, I guess maybe to get attention. And I don't care much for that stuff. I'm waiting for his real musical statement and real musical record where it's not about playing fast and impressive, because that's one of the most talented people we have. I can only imagine what it's going to sound like. What are your thoughts on using it? Too much prepared licks and improvisation? Yeah, I wouldn't do it. It beats the whole purpose. Improvisation is a constant struggle against your forming habits. Improvisation is a constant struggle against your brain trying to figure out shortcuts. So I wouldn't use too much prepared licks on improvisation because it beats the purpose of the game. Forward Motion is the best jazz book I ever read. I opened my... Okay, so it's a book. Yes, I'm going to check it out. What makes a solo beautiful for me? Storytelling, lots of motivic development, lots of thematic playing. The same thing that makes a book beautiful. Take me through a journey, have different textures, surprise me, create an impression of where I think it's going, and then don't go there or whatever. It's the same makes a movie good. Have a storyline, have a plot. Develop it, have unexpected twists and turns to keep me motivated. When I get tired of the love scene, give me a chase scene. When I get tired of the chase scene, give me a sunset scene. I don't know. Stuff like that. Bill Evans started a lot of things that everyone's doing. He didn't start it. I hate saying that. It didn't start. He crystallized a lot of stuff harmonically. Like his harmonies almost... Again, he didn't come out of nowhere. Bill Evans was standing on the shoulders of giants. But in him, a lot of these ideas, harmonic ideas, crystallized. And he was also had a really good mind for improvising. Sometimes Bill Evans' swing feel throws me off. But his thematic improvising is really cool. He had a mind for improvisation, and he had a mind for harmony. Oh my God. How do I learn arranging and other... I would take a couple of lessons arranging. big band and strings. I would take 3-4 lessons from someone who knows how to do it, and get some books on it too. But I would always start with in-person lessons. How do you approach harmonic? Patty, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Love your videos from Australia. Thank you so much, Patty. That's awesome. How do you approach harmonic motion while improvising? How much percent is reflexes versus coincidence? Well, there is no coincidence. I guess what you're asking is how much is reflexes and how much how much is intentional in the moment. A lot of it is instinct. The more I know the songs, the more it's instinct. Have I transcribed music? I transcribed more music than I can remember. Are you kidding me? I transcribed a shitload of music. Back to Christoph's question. Yeah, how much of it reflexes? I mean, a lot of it. The more I know the song, the more of it kind of happens by itself. The more I figure out the harmony, the more I know the harmony I'm improvising over, the more it happens. Do you think that one can develop perfect pitch when already having a good relative pitch? I've been hearing that from people at church lately. To be completely honest with you, that's a question best asked to Rick. Rick Beato is a master specialist about perfect pitch and all that stuff. I don't know. I think perfect pitch kind of develops slowly. There's methods to do it. I just don't know what you need it for. If you have great relative pitch, you're really all set. Like, trust me. If you have great relative pitch, you are all set. Do you like Tribal Tech? Yes, I'm friends with Tribal Tech. I remember checking them out when I was 16, and me and my friends used to listen to that fusion stuff. Yeah, they're awesome. Scott Kinsey is amazing. He's one of the few people who continues Joe Zawinul's legacy in a major way. I can't define jazz properly. It has a lot to do with the black tradition of American music. I know it has something to do with that. For sure. That much I know for sure. But even Charlie Parker and Duke Ellington would tell us that they listen to classical composers. So then there's all that stuff coming in. So it's really hard for me to put my finger on and be like, well, this is what it is. Like, it has... Maybe other people can do it. I wouldn't dare to do it. I know it has to do for sure with the black tradition, black music tradition in America. Then there's a lot of other things going on, and that's why it's hard for me to define. Who are the pianists that influenced me the most? Man, Chick Corea, Kenny Kirkland, Russell Ferrante from the Yellow Jackets, Lyle Mays from Pat Metheny Group, Keith Jarrett, Michel Petrucciani. I didn't get to bebop and all that stuff until I was in my mid-20s because I just liked other music more before. But then I realized that I realized that my solos were stupid and superficial because I was only listening to Russell Ferrante and Keith Jarrett and Lyle Mays, who all studied jazz properly, so their solos are great. But I needed to go back to the roots to figure out how to phrase, how to do all these things. But I came from those guys. Non-musical things, yeah, philosophy, sociology, evolutionary biology. I'm into all that stuff. I'm into debates. I'm into debating. I'm into making... One of the reasons you guys like my videos so much is because I get off on making sense. And I know how to make a point. So I learned that from watching debates. And then I apply it to teaching music, and people are very grateful. I must bring you to Austin, Texas to perform. Let's hit... Man, I'm not setting a foot on stage with you. Are you freaking kidding me? Look, I mean, I just, man, I don't know. I mean, to me, you kind of, Andre, you'll always remain, like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's funny for you to hear because you're watching my YouTube channel, but I don't know, brother. I'm not half the jazz player that you are. Truly. I don't know that I'd be ready. I'd love to come play with you at any... my conditions to coming is that you give me a lesson. I want a lesson from you, and I want to drill you on stuff. Oh God, man, this is so weird. You guys have to understand that Andre Hayward is here. Like, he's one of like my favorite improvisers since I was like 20 something, and now he's here, and it's just like it's weirding me out and it's tripping me out. It's really strange. This guy is a monster. Go pick up his records. Go pick up everything he plays on. He's an unbelievable player. Andre Hayward, go look him up. Seriously. I'd love to come. How do I approach standards? Do I have a particular routine? Yes. Figure out the damn chord changes you improvise over. Figure out the damn chord changes you improvise over. How to figure them out? I teach that. I have videos about that. And then once you control the chord changes and you can improvise on the chord changes, you're going to improvise as well as you generally improvise. Like if you have good motivic development, you're going to have good motivic development. If you don't, you won't. If you know how to leave space, you'll leave space. If you don't leave a lot of space, you won't. So, but you do have to understand the chord changes, either by ear or by knowledge. You have to know what you're improvising over. So I'll learn the melody I'll learn the lyrics because I want to understand the atmosphere of the song. I'll learn what the lyrics are of the standard. I learn the melody. I listen to several versions of vocalists who did that standard because I want to understand the song. I want to understand the atmosphere. So when I have, the chord changes is one thing. Okay, now comes the melody, interpretation of the melody, lyrics. All that stuff. Check out how singers do the song. Check out how Dexter Gordon maybe played that song, or Ben Webster, or someone who knows how to sing who's not a singer, like people like that. How long have I been? Do I play instruments? Yes, I play bass pretty well. I play drums okay, and I play guitar okay. How long have you been playing in Bob Reynolds Quartet? For over 3 years, I think 3 years. Just came from one of your lessons. You're doing a real service to musicians, making the most out of these online resources. Thank you, Marco. I'm happy to hear that. Lyrics, you're talking my language. Trombone, great. Benny Paul, absolutely preach this constantly. Of course, here Andre is saying the same thing. You guys, it's a damn song. It's about something. It's not just a set of changes. It's also a set of changes, and I started from that. You have to get the changes, but yes, it's a song. Get what the song is about. Get the atmosphere of the song. Maybe you don't even like the mood of that song. So get the lyrics. There's an urban legend about Dexter Gordon playing the 2 A sections, and then he stopped at the bridge. And then when the last A section came in, he started playing the melody again. And they asked him, hey, why did you stop playing on the bridge? And he said, I forgot the lyrics. Right? It's deep. It's a song, you guys. And also understand, the livelihood, like for musicians back then to make a living, they had to make the people either dance, so they had to learn how to swing really well, or they had to compete with vocalists, so they had to learn how to sing on their instruments. So all of this comes from necessity, but it also creates a big art form. A trombone player has to be able to sing on the trombone. Otherwise, a regular person will prefer a vocalist who sings lyrics. Simple. If you want to communicate to a regular person, what communicates to a regular person is a vocalist with words. And you, as a trumpet player, have to compete with that. Otherwise, they'll go listen to a singer. Okay, well, can you play trumpet like a singer? The greatest trumpet players can. Saxophone player. I don't want to listen to your playing saxophone. I'm a regular person. I'm a plumber. I prefer to hear a singer. But can you play your saxophone and make me feel like a singer makes me feel? If you can, I'll listen to you too. I'm exaggerating right now, guys, but I'm just trying to make a point, and that's what Andre was referring to before. You're competing with singers. Regular people would rather listen to singers with lyrics. So you have to compete with those people and be just as lyrical yourself on your instruments. You think it's important to hear not only the chord, but also their center. Yeah, I think you should be able to hear the entire chord. Absolutely. And be able to sing. And be able to sing every note in the chord. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. Key center, sorry. How does someone new to jazz start transition from learning standards, their basic to fusion stuff like George Duke? Well, the harmony is the same harmony. Learn how to play over chord changes. Do you know how to play over chord changes? It's not learning standards. It's about learning how to play well over standards. That's really the point, right? It's, you know, the rhythmic concepts are different for George. You know, funk, stuff like that. The rhythmic concepts can be different. But, yeah, the harmony is the same. Phrasing is the same. The blues is the same. Learning how to play the blues. I'll let you know when I figure out how to do that right. George could play the blues. I'll tell you that much. I know that firsthand. Ultimately, get your basics together. Be able to play over changes. Have good tone, good time. Get the blues. I mean, easier said than done. That's about it. That's my 2 cents. My videos on playing and chord changes are helpful. Thank you. I hope they're helpful. Do I hang with Oznoy? Yeah. I've known Oznoy since I was 16, from back home. Oz and I just did a video together, playing a tune, I think 2 months ago. Yeah, he's a good dude. I've known him from back home. Chromatic Concept and Jazz Harmony and Melody by Dave Liebman. I don't have thoughts on that because I don't know the book, but if it's by Dave Liebman, I already recommend it because Dave Liebman is awesome. What are some rhythmic concepts for playing ballads and making them more rhythmically interesting? I can construct the chords under the melody, but I'm having a hard time making it unique. Yeah, I think big triplets, long, wide triplets is a good thing to be able to feel over ballads and phrase around. But also, ballads is not where I would put the emphasis on great rhythmic inventiveness, sort of. You can, but then you're kind of playing double time feel. Ballads have their own sets of challenges. Ballads are very hard to play well. And it's not because of the rhythm. There's many other challenges in ballads. If you need to play more rhythmically dense to make your ballad interesting, it means you're not playing the ballad right. Sinatra didn't need any rhythmic inventions. You get interesting entrance points for phrases, interesting resolution points for phrases, yes. So entrance points, resolution points, but generally a ballad will teach you how to play lyrically and how to sing a song. And then there's room for some rhythmic stuff in there, but that's not, to me, when I think about a ballad, I could be wrong. The first thing that pops in my mind as a challenge is not rhythmic inventiveness. There's other things. How do you strengthen polyrhythmic skills on keys? Yeah, that's my next video. I'm gonna do 3-4 videos on polyrhythmics. You think that be a sessionist of an instrument you must start as a child? It's preferable that you start as a child, but if you didn't, then you didn't. Hey, hello from Nicaragua, Honor. How's it going, man? It's preferable to start as a child doing everything because your mind is flexible. But some people are talented enough that they can start later. And besides, who cares? We're doing it for, you know, I'm into men's style and fashion. I'm into whiskey. I'm never going to be a professional at those things, but I do them because I enjoy them, and I'm never going to be able to be good enough to compete. But I enjoy doing those things, and I'm going to keep doing them, even if I'm not going to be professional. Explain Spain by Chick Corea. What do you mean? Explain how? In what sense? Harmonically, compositionally, like motivically? Scales over chords and exercises. Yeah. Well, if you know your chord scales, then you don't need my explanation. If you know it's a major 7 chord, takes an Ionian scale, and a dominant 7 chord takes a Mixolydian scale, then you know what scales to play. If you need to know which scales go with which chords. You don't need me to explain to you Spain. You need to know what scale to play over minor 7 chord. What scale to play, right. Do you know what scales go with what chords in general? You're awesome, man. Thank you so much. Do you know which scales go with which chords in general, regardless of Spain? Do you? Because if you do, then it's the same in Spain. It's no different. Spain doesn't have some new chords. Okay. Yes, you know. Okay, well, if you see a major 7 chord in Spain, then major 7 chord takes Ionian scale, where that's the first one. The next chord is F sharp, dominant 7. That one takes a Mixolydian scale, just like you said you know. Well, then play the Mixolydian scale. That's kind of how it goes, right? It's not a matter of so you could play Lydian, or I prefer Lydian. This one, it's a dominant 7 chord, so it could take, for instance, right, G Lydian. So it could take, this one could take the altered. It's like dominant chords take the chord scales they take. Major 7 chords take the chord scales they take. I know just you say to play a Dorian scale over a minor chord. Why not natural A minor? Well, I have a video about it's called Dorian or Aeolian. For instance, why am I choosing, for instance, Lydian here and not Aeonian? Because the melody has C sharp. And so too with the minor chords. If the melody has a flat 6, right? I'm never gonna play Dorian. I'm gonna play Aeolian, natural minor. But if the melody has a raised 6, then of course I'm gonna use Dorian. Also, the melody will dictate that a lot. Juliana, hi. Mom's children, do I have perfect pitch? I don't. I have really good relative pitch. I don't have perfect pitch. The Phrygian dominant works well. Yeah, exactly. What do I think about ear training apps? Man, anything that helps with ear training, I'm all in favor of. That's the one thing I can't help people with because I don't know how to teach it. I was lucky to have good ear training. Good ear since I'm a kid. It's just luck. It's just like the color of my eyes. But the apps help intervallically. I know my ex-girlfriend was teaching kids and she was using those apps, and that definitely helps. Can you explain block chords like Red Garland style? I can try, but I don't know as much, about his style. I can play block chords. I know some stuff. I can maybe try and make a video about that. I just know there's guys who are way better at that than I am. Carlos, how's it going, man? Thank you. Wonderful. So-and-so, you can do that sounds. What do you think? Why not think B minor? Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think one chord scale when I go from chord to chord. I'm not a fan of finding one scale that works for all of it. It's just not how my mind works. Non-diatonic notes. Yeah, there's approach notes. You can think intervallically. You can think like pattern-wise. Hello? Can you guys see me? You're back on. Okay, good. Now, yes. Andre, my man, thank you so much for joining us. We'll connect on Facebook. Yeah, sorry. Okay, I'm going to sign off. We've been on for more than 2 hours, you guys. I'm going to sign off. Yep. Thank you, guys. I've been on for more than 2 hours. I'm going to keep this stream up. I'm answering a bunch of questions on this. I'm going to keep this up for a while. Thank you all for joining me so much. This has been a lot of fun. We've been here for 131 minutes. That's 2 hours and 10 minutes. Thanks so much, my man. Thank you all. I will see you all soon. I'm going to work on a new video tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, all of you. Blessings. And I'll see you all very soon, okay? I'll be doing this maybe once a week or something. And I'll be answering your questions. I'll do these again. I'll do these again. I'll see you guys soon, okay? I'm going to be doing live streams once a week or something. And I'm going to be doing more lessons. I'm going to film a new lesson tomorrow. And I'll be back next week for another live stream. תודה רבה, ניב, איזה כיף.